Once you get your first client, you achieve a milestone in your business.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Now you can directly reach me on WhatsApp and ask any questions. My number is +91 9511 841 495. I'm so glad to have you on this channel. If you're getting some value from this video, can you hit the subscribe button and the bell to keep watching weekly videos?
Hello. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. This
Hey,
is
good
Ameya
morning.
here. Can you hear me?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Great.
I had all these questions. I got like about, let's say 7 of them. Do you
That's
mind
right.
if I can ask you some?
That's right. I received your email regarding all the questions. Let me just pull it up real quick. So you're based in Texas?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Should I directly jump into the questions, or you want to introduce yourself? Like, have you already set up a company, or what is? I mean, are you in project planning, or are you planning to start it soon, or how is it?
I'm thinking about starting like a virtual call center for other businesses.
Okay.
I've heard it's a real good idea from watching your videos. I thought you could maybe help me with the setup and the different ideas I need to get through.
Absolutely.
And,
So, Chris, I think that's really good thing. You wish to start that the call center business. Maybe I can just give you some brief idea how it will be helpful, and then I will come back to your questions, and then I will start answering your questions. Okay.
okay.
So I think especially in this pandemic, especially this industry is going to be really required. Your services will be really required for the small and mid-sized businesses in the US and any other countries like Canada or even European countries, because if you have noticed that many airlines, the banks, retail industry like Amazon, a lot of companies are facing customer related issues. They need customer service to be improved. They want their sales and business development to be taken care by somebody. The customer retentions are in place. They want to make sure. So these are a couple of things which are really going to be highlighted in the near future, and for that I think call center industry or these businesses are going to be in really high demand.
Okay.
Your questions are mostly related to virtual call centers, so that is really good. The virtual call centers, when we say, I would like to first of all explain, there are two concepts behind virtual call centers. When we say, the first common concept of virtual call centers is like, there are many employees working from dispersed locations, from different locations, and instead of going to office, they're working from home or they're working remotely, and that's the virtual call center. That's the one concept.
Yeah.
That's everybody is familiar about. The second concept, because many times it's interrelated or inter exchanged between both the terms. The second term about virtual call center is artificial intelligence or machine learning, where there are no human agents sitting there, but it's actually machine which is answering the calls, and it's answering and helping customers with their customer queries or doing inside sales or upselling. So that is not, those are not humans, but those are machines. I believe your questions are more related to the first reference, right, where the employees will be working from home and then you want to start that structure of business. Is it right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, that's awesome. So your first question is really interesting, that which are the virtual call centers, which softwares can be useful, and they will be really needed in this structure of business. So there are many softwares, but I recommend really good one is Zendesk, Zendesk, Zendesk. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so why you need, first of all, why do you need software? Because when your employees are working from various different locations, from their home and all, then you need to make sure that the call routing is done properly, as per the hierarchy. The supervisor calls are sent to the supervisors, managers, whatever the requirement is. And if it's an outbound process or if it's an inbound process, depending on the requirement and depending on the call volume, the calls are properly distributed and the call recordings are done and they're properly saved on the cloud server. That's the main purpose of the software for virtual call center. Okay.
And so Zendesk, would that be the only software I'll be needing?
That's the one that I recommend, especially in this work structure. But I'm coming to the next point, whether you need it now. So I will say that, in the initial phase of your business, you don't need it. I think I will suggest not to go for it, not to invest your money, because you're in the very initial stage of the business, I believe, right? You're just planning to start.
Yes, sir. So what would I be needing to do if I don't need the software? What should I do?
Exactly, that's a good question. So I think since you are in the very beginning stage of the business, what you actually need is you need a really good CRM platform, customer relationship management platform. There are many CRM platforms available like Salesforce, then Microsoft Dynamics. There are a lot of softwares which are available for startup businesses. I suggest Zoho, Zoho, Zoho.
Okay.
That's the good one. That's a CRM. They have many software platforms like Zoho CRM, Zoho Project, Zoho Recruitment. They have various, but for you to start the business, Zoho CRM I think will be really good. Why you need it now is because in the initial phase of business, you need to be focused almost 80 to 90%. Your energy, your time, your everything you need to put in business development part, where you actually save a lot of leads. You get the database of your leads potentials from LinkedIn and several other sources. You add them in CRM like Zoho, you manage it properly, and then you actually make cold calls or email campaigns, and then you get in touch with them.
So at the beginning stages, I should be more focused on getting the clients rather than getting employees, right?
Yeah, I think getting the clients is required, because if you have even one client on board, and even if it's a small company, but that one client will turn the whole game completely, and that will give you a good source of revenue to hire employees and pay their salaries, resources, even the software for virtual call center. Because if you start hiring people now, you are going to end up in spending more money now. So depending on what investment you have, if you really want to hire employees, then the employees should have some business development experience. They should be good on cold calling. They should be really good at email campaign experience, email marketing. And then you can hire maybe one or two people to help you out, and then actually start looking for clients. That's the only focus. If you're just starting now, then for another whole 6 months to 1 year, you should be focusing only on business development. Parallelly, you will need some access of online platforms like LinkedIn Sales Navigator. From there, you can actually contact you can filter out a lot of prospects from US, from California, different states, or maybe from your town. And then you can decide that, okay, because since you are in the initial stage, I would recommend to stay focused on small size companies, and target businesses which has like between 1 to 20 employees working for them, and then contact their CXOs, like the decision makers, the company owners, maybe the controllers of the office, whoever is making the managers, whoever is making the decision. Get on a call with them, introduce your company. Maybe if you have a website, you can just introduce that, and then get a appointment set up and try to convert that into a lead.
And so I think a good question to ask now is, what kind of companies should I be looking for, and what kind of services? Because I know I could be taking their calls that they get, or I can be making calls for them.
Right, that's right. So it will be, I understood your question, it will be either inbound or outbound calls. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so now your question, is it related to which industry you should focus on, or what is the size of the business, or
It would be what industry I should be going into, like, because I'm sure I gotta know what's the industry a little bit just to talk about it with the customers, like on their phone. I'm just trying to think of a good, like, starting out, what kind of niche I should go into.
Sure. So usually, these companies, why they outsource their function and why they consider call centers, because of the efficiency that the call centers have. Efficiency, and the second, the most biggest factor involved here is cost effectiveness. So I will say that this is the best time to utilize it. Through this pandemic, there are a lot of small and mid-sized businesses around the world and even in US. They would want to save the cost. So usually the finance industry, insurance, banking, retail, these are the really good industries which always require call center services and support, either to sell products, to give customer service, or to do debt collection, to do data collection. So these are kind of requirements they have, or maybe the claim processing. So these are a couple of requirements that usually they have. But what I will say is that it's important in this time to keep the eyes open, and every second really matters. So you need to make sure that you actually look into the financial news, the economic news, where the industries are going. So it could be real estate or any industry which is in really high demand of doing the cost cutting, or they want efficiency in the business development and sales. That's going to be your prospect industry.
And the service I would provide for them, could it be along the lines of, like, they have a product and they have people, they sign up for a call, and I would be the one taking the calls and selling them and trying to turn their leads into business? Would that be a possible business plan for me?
There are a couple of services which are offered through these call centers. One is a sales process, which you can easily get it because everybody wants the sales to happen, right? Every company wants some of the products to be sold. Provided these companies, when they outsource some sales process, there is a lot of uncertainty in the income what you're going to get, because this month you may have some really good sales and next month you may not have. So I will suggest in the beginning stage, instead of going for such a difficult task, because for sales also you need to have really good experienced employees who have really good international sales experience, and they're making inside sales, and they're getting the conversions, and they're getting revenue for your company. So instead of going for that, I will suggest you go for the easy, low hanging fruits. For example, go for customer service, because there are no targets for customer service, or even if they're achievable targets, you can easily meet the requirements of the clients. So I will suggest go for customer service, or if you wish to go for sales, then maybe upselling, cross-selling, or debt collection, which I mentioned it. So these are a couple of things of claim processing. So these are things which doesn't require hard and fast, targets, and your income is not dependent on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will get some certainty, you will get some assurance to get the revenue for your business.
Okay. Sounds good. Can you give me a good example of, let's say I have this is the business I got as a client, and this is the service I'm going to provide them. Can you give me an example of what it would look like?
Sure, I can give that. Now, for example, let's take the retail industry just for an example. For example, when we talk about retail industry, or to be very precise, online retail industry, or we call it as an e-commerce business. So apart from companies like Amazon, there are many websites, or there are many e-commerce websites, or the companies who wants to sell some of the other products which they bring it from China and other countries, and they sell it in the US market through online channels. For example, if you focus on those companies, small and mid-sized sector, then the services which you can offer to them is, first of all, inside sales, if you want to get into that, which will be outbound sales. You make the phone calls, and then you speak with clients, and then you sell the product. Second is, when the websites are already there, many clients, they call you looking at the commercials on TV or somewhere else. They call the call centers, and they want some kind of more information from the call centers, and then they make the purchase decision. So these type of companies are in requirement of outbound and inbound sales. they're in requirement of the cross selling and upselling. That means if they're demanding for a product, some electronic product, then your team will actually sell one more product to them, or they will sell a similar product to them additionally. So that is upselling and cross selling. Apart from that, these companies are also in need. Once a product is sold, many clients, they call for the customer service if they have any damages, if they have any issues during the shipment, payment related queries. Then usually they call the call centers. They want this call centers to be functioning 24/7. So this is the typical requirement, and that's the unique selling point call centers have. So that is a typical scenario when your services will be in demand.
Okay. So how much would I be charging those kind of businesses? Like, well, how much should I be asking for?
How much pricing you mean to say?
Yeah, yeah.
The average salary what usually these companies they pay is around $15 to $20. Then you should have some kind of at cost advantage, and you should be offering them $10 to $12 average. Only then they are going to come to you. Provided when you actually have the deal with them, you should make sure that they give you at least a requirement of 20 to 25 people. So that gives you some advantage on the cost saving part. You can hire 20-25 employees, and your billing for the month is going to have quite a decent income.
If that's going to be the amount per month, how much should I be like taking for profit, or should I not even be taking profit at the beginning?
No, you should, because if you don't make the profits, then it's very difficult to sustain throughout the business and then make it make it a successful business in the future. So I will suggest that you should have an aim of making minimum between 8 to 10% in the beginning, and then increase it as the volume goes up. So you will be start you will start earning quite a good amount when you will have more than 50 employees. So you need to make sure that in the first year you have multiple clients or multiple prospects, potential prospects on board, so you can close as many deals as possible, and then you can hire more people, number of people for your company, and then actually you will start seeing really good financial results.
Okay. So how much should I be paying one person? Like, what would be like? How would the pricing for them go? Like, would it be base per call, base per hour?
It will be hourly, because if you want per call, it will be very difficult to calculate that and then actually make the billing, because there are a lot of factors when it comes to service delivery. Then there are quality and other parameters are involved in that. So yes, you have to pay per hour. The offer rates would be between $8 to $10. I will say $10, and you should be charging minimum $15 to $18 in that case per hour. So then you will have some quite good margins in between. So that is why I made it sure, I told you that you should be getting clients from the states which who are ready to pay higher pricing, and then get the employees from states who have lower wages.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when I'm looking into hiring someone, what would that look like? So what should I be looking for, and what should I require of them?
Like how your question is how you should be doing the hiring. That's the question, right? So in the beginning stage, it's not going to be challenging, because you will be hiring like 5-10 people at the max, depending on the client's requirements. So you can easily do that. I would even say that maybe from your own city. The reason is that you will be able to communicate or coordinate with your employees in a much better way. You can meet them somewhere if it's required. So maybe you can start it from your city, and through your local contacts and local network. If there are any other sources from where you can get employees, then I will suggest you um, using LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media big platforms, because nowadays I'm sure there are a lot of people who are in need of job because of this pandemic, and people have lost their jobs. So this is a perfect time, they're in need of it. You can just make a post on these platforms, and you can hire employees. Job portals, you can actually get job portals, you can use them, and then you can hire employees. But that's in the later stage, because that's going to cost you money. They will charge you some money to use the job portals and then find your employees.
But for just like a brief job description for them, which it would be like need people to do customer service and just sales for these e-commerce companies.
Yes, that's a good question again. I think I will say that, in the beginning time, it's important that employees should have some experience in business development and sales. So that is really required for most of the employees in the beginning time. The reason is that if any client comes on board, your customer service representative can give even other services like debt collection or customer service or claim processing. They can just get into anything. However, any other employees coming from other experience cannot do sales, because sales is a specialized skill. You need to have some practice, you should know in and out about sales, and you should have some kind of experience in the past. So hire people with minimum 2 years, 3 years of experience in sales, at least 1 or 2 years experience in sales. They should not have any fear of cold calling. They should be good in oral and written communication. The another advantage you can have, since you're in the US, then I will say that your employees, if they come with multilingual skills, like they can speak English as well as Spanish, that can be a really great advantage when you actually meet your companies and you talk to them. Some of the companies will be really happy to give some more jobs to you because your employees can speak both the languages.
So, let's say I get a client, he sells some sort of product online. What would be the onboard? Like, whoa, I got him as a client. What do I need to do to, like, what do I need to give him to start my services?
Sure. So first thing is that you need to understand what requirement do they have. Like as we discussed it before, that are they coming from retail industry or finance industry or real estate? What requirement do they have? And then once they clearly explain you, then most of the information the client themselves are going to give you. They call it as a SLA, or service level agreement. So in which the clients are going to put forward all the expectations what they have from your company. If it's a number of calls, then how many number of calls it should be done, what are the quality parameters. So they are going to tell you all the information about it. If it's a complex process, which is going to take time, then there is another process which is called as a process transitioning or process migration. So in that case, you or your employee will have to go to their office, learn that process. Maybe typically it works in processes like insurance, accounting, where they have a stringent process already set. So then your employees will have to go learn it, come back, and then start working. But in most of the cases, when you actually start your work, then it will be a knowledge transfer. They will be doing it, they will give you the service level agreement, and then you guys can start working.
Okay. So would each individual employee have their own number, or would one number be called, and then they, or just that person who calls that number, it'll go to one of my employees?
So you mean to say the number that they're dialing from, is that what your question is?
Yeah, like let's say if the business has a customer
Right.
that calls them, but then ends up redirecting to my call center. Like, is it just a number they're gonna call, or?
That's right. It will be just one number. So most of the softwares, they give you the voice over IP. They call it as voice over IP, VOIP. So you just have to explain, depending on your client's requirements, you can take one or two phone numbers. Like you must have seen that when you call any airline, they usually give you one 800 number or something. So it's just one phone number that they have. So your clients will call on that number, and then the software will decide which agents are available to take the phone call, and then the software will distribute the phone calls to the next available agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be something like the Zendesk, right?
Exactly. That's right. Yes.
Okay.
But in the beginning, as I said, that you will need importantly, I mean, you will really need is a CRM softwares like Zoho, Microsoft, or Salesforce, because you will have to manage all the leads until you get the business, until you get clients on board. You cannot deliver the services. So your 80% focus should be on getting clients on board, and then you can actually start getting revenue.
Okay. And so, will there be like any need of trying to like provide like training for my sales agents, or just let them be?
No, you definitely require a training, and how effectively you can conduct training is through web conferences, webinars. So you can actually have, when you actually sign up a contract with the client, then you can talk to them. They will have one, someone like point of contact, some manager or somebody who will be helping you guys to do the knowledge transfer. So the manager sitting there, he will give all the requirements. Your person needs to document all the requirements. Somebody from your team needs to document all the requirements and everything as per the service level agreement that you guys have. Once it's done, then you will have to actually conduct training sessions. In your case, when you're focusing on English or Spanish agents, for example, you may not need any communication trainings. However, there may be some trainings required regarding the business development, sales, or if the client has specific requirements about terms and conditions, or they have standard operating procedures, then they may have certain things documented. So you will have to do that knowledge transfer to your employees.
Okay. So most of my training and just knowledge transfer comes from, there will be a guy there I can talk to, and then they'll just help us transfer what we need to know, and then from there, we can, to better our services, just do trainings and stuff, right?
Correct. That's correct. Because ultimately the client knows what they're expecting from your company. So they will give you, of course, they will coordinate with your company. They will give you most of the information. Most of the times it may be even documented already. If not, then you guys can, someone from your team can learn, document it, and then do the next knowledge transfer.
So I really, I think I'm strict on the idea of doing e-commerce.
Sure.
And really trying to service them.
Sure.
So the idea I gave to you about the just like following up with the customer as soon as they purchase, would that be a good service? Or
Yeah, for e-commerce, if you're targeting, the e-commerce industry needs inside and I mean inbound and outbound sales. So that should be the easy go for you. You can offer inbound and outbound sales to improve for their company through your call center agents. You can also offer customer service, and you can also offer data processing, where either it will be data collection or data entry. These kind of processes you can offer to them. But your first step of prospecting or getting clients on board, that itself is a time consuming process. You need to put a lot of efforts, a lot of energy in that, and you have to work really hard towards getting your first client, because that's the most difficult thing. But once you get your first client, I'm sure you achieve a milestone in your business.
yeah. So I got through all my questions.
Perfect. I'm happy that you got all the answers to your questions, Chris. I wish you really, really all the best to your business. I'm sure it will be successful, and you will make the full use of this pandemic time and help a lot of companies who are in difficult time of, and then they need cost savings and cost efficiency.
Well, I thank you.
Thank
You were
you.
a really good help for me.
Absolutely. I'm just a call away. You can call me anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.